Hi, and welcome back to Miranda's Cauldron. We're going to do things a little differently today. Normally on the full moon, I host a writing sprint, but today I'm thinking I want to do a little bit different for the full moons, kind of like full moon with a little bit of info, tarot draw of spreads. If anyone's in the comments and they want to have a card from themselves, just put it in the chat and I'll draw a card for you. I'm also going to continue with the Moonology cards and probably an animal spirit. But I also want to do not really a coffee chat, but just a little chat about things that I thought of over the month, during the day before, whenever. And one of the things I want to kind of talk about is fear, and not related to writing fear, which I'm sure we all have. Like, for example, will I ever finish this book? I know for me, I've started writing my first real novel when my kids were little. So I was a full-time mom, volunteered a lot at the school, took my kids, just regular full-time mom. But I also wanted to be a writer, so I started writing. And just for kind of a reference, my kids are now 26 and 28. Babies of their own, grown up, living on their own, married, all that fun stuff. So it took me a very long time to write my book. So even if it takes you a year, 5 years, 10 years, my suggestion is don't give up. And when I finally got it drafted, I realized that with the word count, it was actually 2 books. And if I remember correctly, the word count for the 2 books was about 120,000 words. I divided the book up in 2. At this time, I had not read Save the Cat. I wasn't really familiar with story beats, but I read a lot. Sure, I might be a slow reader, but I do read a lot. And so when I had critique partners read over, which is a soloist, they gave me a lot of good suggestions. Of course, fear crept in there when I had to share my first chapter, because for me, I wrote the first chapter numerous times, but I never really had anyone to read it other than my sister, who's a reader, but she's not a writer, so she didn't really give me a lot of ideas. She gave me some suggestions and what she liked and what she didn't like about it. And so that was that. And then now, when I've had my critique partners read the entire book, it's now sitting at just shy of 100,000 words. And of course, I was scared of that. Fear crept in, imposter syndrome, all that fun stuff. But I knew that is something that I've always wanted to do, even as a kid. So just kind of, if you have a fear of other people reading your book, let them, because the suggestions and such could only make you stronger. So my fear at this time is snow, the ice. It hit me really bad last winter because we had so many ice storms and freezing rain. And within weeks, I fell 3 times. And the last time I couldn't get up. I had to basically crawl on the ice and the chopped up gravel and whatnot. And I finally got to the house. Luckily, I wasn't too far away, but I was home alone. And when I got in the house, I discovered that I cut myself. My knee was all chopped up with the ice and that. So that really hit me really hard. And since then, I didn't feed the cats at all out in the shed. I just took their dishes out on the deck and I called them. And I'll tell you, it was quite the experience watching the little kitties and the grown up cats run across the snow and ice. Even they were slipping and sliding. So I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I'm not out there. And then this year, as soon as the ice came, I'm like, I'm not going out there. Nope. So I've been feeding the cats on the deck since probably early December. And yesterday, overnight, the night before, it had froze rain so badly that even the deck was glare ice. I looked outside through the window and I'm like, I am not even going on the deck today. So I knelt down at the doorway and I just pushed their cat dishes out for them. And when they were done eating, I grabbed the Swiffer. At least I used it this month. Well, last month, because this is the 1st of February. So, of course, I haven't mopped the floor yet. But anyhow, and I grabbed the Swiffer and I brought back the dishes and I did the same thing with their water. So even if you're afraid of certain things, whatever it is, it could be like, I know my daughter was petrified of spiders. She was even afraid of moths, which was crazy. But then when she was little, she was also afraid of any sign of bugs. Flies, ladybugs. Well, she wasn't as scared as ladybugs as she was flies. She was like petrified. And so just my suggestion is find a way to conquer your fears. Maybe conquer is not the right word. Maybe just so you can deal with your fear. Like if you have a fear of water, just walk along the shoreline. Just put your toes in. Just a little bit. You don't have to go swimming, but just experience the water. I'm going to jump into the chat because Mama Maggie is here. Hello, hello. The youngest was only scared of spiders. Yeah, my daughter was scared of spiders too. And whenever there was a spider up in this old farmhouse, was her bedroom. And whenever there were spiders, she'd be like, Mommy, there's a spider in my room. And I would have to go upstairs and kill the spider. And I'm not a fan of spiders myself. And then she wanted to eat. And I said, sorry, but the only way you can go out with boys is you got to kill your own spiders. So she proceeded to kill most of the spiders on her own. So that was good. That was a relief. Then she learned jumping spiders were friends, but it still took years before she fled at the sight of them. Oh, when we moved here, there was a barn and full of cobwebs, and there were spiders out there. If they were in the back corner of the barn, not a problem, because I wasn't in there to spend a lot of time in the barn. I was just in there to feed the cats and depend on the weather, just sat out there for them a while. But I remember there was one summer when they were big, like barn spiders. So they were pretty big. And they invaded the doorway. Well, let's just say I fed the kitties outside of the barn until all the spiders disappeared. She will still have me come over and remove spiders. Mom life, yeah. Well, now my daughter would have to get her husband to kill them because she lives too far away. I'm going to just give you a little bit of info that I found on the internet about the moon, the full moon for let's see, I did put it in the comments when I found in this one site where when the full moon is officially. And here's just a few things that I also found, like kind of like poems. Under the full moon tonight, I bask in its light. I release all self-doubt and fear. As I release them, my blocks disappear. With faith in my future and heart's insight, I embrace the energy of this lunar night. So mote it be. And I found that on the grannymagic.com. And another little full moon release. Tonight, I cleanse myself of old habits, beliefs that no longer serve me. I refresh my energy and clear my mind. I open my heart to a new and better path that serves me with love, prosperity, happiness, and success. And it's from, I can't really make it out. It's too small. Let me see if I can enlarge it. Oh, saratogaoceans.com, but it was also just on a Facebook group. Full moon energy. Sleep may disrupt or intense. You may feel drained or emotionally exhausted. Emotions can be heightened. Old memories may surface. You may feel sensitive, tense, or overstimulated. The effects peak over the next 24 to 48 hours. Remember, this will pass and you'll soon feel clearer. Give yourself time and space to rest and recharge. And the name on the image that I found on Facebook, Empaths, Old Souls, and Introverts. I am going to bring out my notebook that I've written a bunch of spreads over the course of years. I'm not sure when I actually started this notebook. Let me see if I put a date on here somewhere. No, I do not. But I do remember when I was writing this up, my husband had needed to spend some time in the hospital. So I think that's when, and I remember filling it out while he was in the hospital. So this would have been maybe 6 years. Actually, it was 2019, something like that. So I'm going to find a full moon spread, and I'm going to draw a spread. Because normally I just do 1 or 2 cards. Okay. I am going to do a 3-card full moon. Let me find a rock to put on my notebook so it will stay open. Does anyone know what this stone is? I'll give you some time to put in the comments, and then after my draw, I'll tell you. But I'll give you a clue. I got this stone in Ontario, Canada, not Ontario, California. Okay, for the first card, oh, somebody says, oh, it is blue, but nope. I do have one of those stones. I wonder if it's upstairs or if it's downstairs. It is actually sodalite from a mine in the Bancroft, Ontario area, which is south a few hours from Algonquin Park. Oh, one popped. Oh, interesting. Okay, I needed 3 cards for this. The number 1 position was elimination. What can be no longer hidden? Number 2 is release. What can I let go of? And 3, transformation. What is ready to emerge? Illumination, 9 of Wands. Release, judgment. And 3, transformation, 7 of Pentacles. And this is one reason why I really want to get back into doing more live tarot. Because even though I've been reading tarot off and on Oh my goodness, too many years to not know the cards. We'll just put it that way. Hello, Jenna. Wave, tag, and like. Hi, Jenna. And I do know that those two ladies also draw tarot cards. If you go over to Jenna, the Soul Writer's channel, and go back in her history, Mama Maggie and Jenna had, I'm not sure if it was monthly or twice a month, they would get together and talk tarot. And if you read my description, what kind of favorite hot beverage did you bring? That is mocha. Okay. So to me, the 9 of Wands looks like it's more like the 9 of, like they look more swordsy because he looks like he's tired. He's had enough. We talked tarot, mythology, all kinds of stuff. That is true. I am going to have to look at my guidebook. 9 of Wands. Wands is usually creative. So maybe what can be no longer hidden? You need to write that book. You need to finish revising. You need to do the edits. You need to get that proof copy out there. Read it through again and just let your book out in the world. That's what my interpretation is for what can be no longer hidden. It tends to show that you feel as if all your energy has been spent. So he is exhausted. The road has been long and you just don't feel as if you go another step. Let's just stop there for a moment. Rest. Continue. 9 of Wands is Perseverance card, being at the edge of exhaustion, but still striving. Thank you. So judgment is really, it's what can I let go of? Your judgment of others. Judgment of yourself. Karmic card. As you sow, so shall you reap. General feeling of rejuvenation, health matters show improvement. This card represents a time to be happy and new beginnings. Then the 7 of Pentacles. Of course, Pentacles in general is for it's grounding. And also like financial. Once upon a time, it was a lot to do with cattle. So what is ready to emerge? So this is the transformation. I'm thinking just by the looks of this card, be like your harvest, what you've been working on for over the summer months, for the year. Hard work and patience would be rewarded, and that working towards accomplishments will bring success. It's important to still plan for the future. Once the harvest has been collected, it must be replenished for next time. So that's those 3 cards for that simple full moon spread. Let's see what else I wrote down on my notes that I wanted to talk about. So so a little bit of my writing journal more, like writing process. They are a good grouping. Thank you. I really enjoy reading tarot, and I do also think they were good cards, especially together. Right now, like what I was saying earlier, that my critique partners have read my book, give me a lot of suggestions. So what I've been doing now in my Witches of Solace first book is writing out all the beats, story beats, using Saved Cat. Let's see what I have here. And instead of doing the 3-act structure, like Act 1, Act 2, A, 2B, and 3, I just did it as 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So midpoint is between the second and the third, about halfway. I used, of course, index cards, colors of my main 4 characters of my book. And I decided what color I was going to use in what order for 1, 2, 3, 4 was my 4 main characters. Their names are Alexis, which is pink, Brody, which is green, Callie, which is purple, and Darian is blue. And I put down, I'll just do the first act because the first half wasn't too bad compared to where the beat should be. I'm a little, at this time, a little late on the midpoint. Like the midpoint doesn't really seem like the midpoint of the story. And the last act, I have to add quite a few different beats that I didn't really have. They weren't as strong as they should have been. So I got the opening image, finally figured that out. I'll just tell you a little bit about the opening of Witches of Solace. Kaylee is at a cabin by the river in the small town that she lives. She lives outside of town. Her other friends live in town. And she's at this cabin, and it's also her mother's favorite spot, and she used to go there a lot with her mom until she was about 13, 14, and then she was able to go by herself. She's 15, going to be 16. And when she's at this cabin, she does a lot of sketching and just thinking about life, being like a kid. And what visits her but a coyote? And of course, a lot of people are afraid of coyotes. I know coyotes, they run through the yard here all the time. They're just there. So she doesn't feel scared when she sees this coyote. It reminds her of a dog. And then it just goes from there. So I've been going through, so I put the beats on the card and how many percentages into the book it should be at. So I'm going through there, and that's not too bad. But now and then when I've done that, I need to write at least 5 more chapters. I have to put in the dark night of the soul, and I have to bring in more tension with the bad guys coming in. And my last chapter, which is about 4,500 words, is a big battle scene. Good against evil, magic, and swords. And I need to rewrite that chapter into smaller chapters and put in other points of view. And no matter how scared the 4 teens are, they have to experience their magic. Only one of them has active magic at this time. But the other ones, they need to discover their magic and help defend themselves. Of course, they're going to get hurt because the bad guys are very bad. Very strong. And even the experienced witches and warriors that are with the kids, even they get injured. So it's going to be fun rewriting the last chapter I'm thinking probably 4 chapters. Because, of course, the chapter as it is now, it's like 4,500 words, and I have four main characters. Even though one of the kids was struck by magic of the bad guy in charge, so he was pretty much unconscious and being healed the whole battle. So I may have to get him to wake up before the end so he can at least have a point of view. Because it's kind of hard to him having a point of view when he's been unconscious the whole time. Sure, maybe he would be able to hear things. We'll have to wait and see. So that is my little chat for today. I am going to be back tomorrow for my regular writing sprints. I have my week to set up. I have my month-end reflection questions to do. Heck, I even have to do the month-end questions for the year-end questions from 2025. So I'm thinking I might going to probably focus on that tomorrow during my live streams, because I really can't go on the internet when I'm streaming. Probably because either my laptop might be too slow, it might be too small. It could be just because I live out in the country and the internet is not the best. It's not like it's in the city when it's like super fast. And yeah. So I will see you guys all tomorrow morning for my live streams. And a couple of announcements, I suppose. I'm sure you probably have already seen it over on the Instagram, Facebook, other people's YouTube channels, that Kat Leo is doing the February Love Awards. So check out their channel for more info. And the under 1K marathon is happening in about a week. Let me just check my calendar, because there's going to be pretty much back-to-back sprints for, I think it's about 10 days. Let me just check. It starts on Sunday, so next Sunday, the 8th. And it will last just a week. Yeah, so I guess it's just a week. So Sunday, the 8th to the 15th. And that is over at Sam Wicker's channel, author, writer Sam Wicker. So check that out. I will be doing a couple of streams for that. I've already made up my thumbnails for that. And hope to see you there and at other people's writing streams. In the meantime, if you are where it's icy and cold, where the weather is usually nice and sunny, take it from some advice from someone who grew up in Ontario and, well, just Canada, and we have snow and ice and freezing rain and freezing temperatures. And when it's like that, heck, I just stay in the house. Okay, and here we have Mama Maggie posted the link for the Love of Words. That must have been the opening from this morning that I slept through. So check out Mama Maggie's channel for streams. Looks like she's going to be doing a fair bit for the month of February, which is great. And just like Mama Maggie says, be blessed and have a lovely day. And if you can, sometime today, refill your cauldron, take a rest, watch a movie. Speaking of movies, my husband, I was just reading and playing on my phone and whatever, that he says, have you ever heard of the TV series, movie or something, Montana Mavericks? I went, no. Well, it was one of those Hallmark type movies, romance, will they stay together, and all that kind of fun stuff. Well, we watched it, and it was pretty good. the main character was an author. So that kind of hit me in the heart. Kat's channel, then Rachel. Okay, so Rachel D. Adams. Good, there's a lot. So just check out their channels. And I will see you tomorrow morning. Well, morning for me, noon Eastern. So I will see you then. And this is something I always tend to forget. I'm Miranda. I write young adult, urban fantasy, and apparently a little bit of high fantasy, since my story is a lot of magic and world building. We don't talk about it. Yeah, I know, it's weird. Like, my husband's he likes a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but he does not like supernatural type things. But he talks about vampires a lot. So I think it's kind of funny how he does that. But anyhow, I will see you guys all later. Oh, my Moonology card. I almost forgot. I'm going to do the pretty ones, since they're just the ones I grabbed. And the pretty ones are the manifestation. Okay, this one's sticking out, so we'll use this. And it is the first quarter moon in Pisces. Honor your feelings. It's better to honor them than to ignore them. Just my opinion. And now I really am going to sign off. I'm going to finish my hot chocolate, mocha. Maybe some journaling. Maybe I'll do some of those questions. We'll see. In the meantime, bye for now.